Hi, I'm Christy, and welcome to my channel, Soul Blossom Girl. I've heard God's voice, have felt His touch, and have felt His tears on my flesh. God is involved in the details of our lives, and lately He's been showing me that He's always been involved in the details of my life. Currently, I'm in a 15th anniversary celebration with God. 15 years ago, it was Lent, February 17th to April 9th, 2010. I was recovering from a car accident, and laying in bed, in my mind's eye, Father's Home movie started to play. But instead of me running around as a cute little kid, it was all my drunkenness. Starting at age 15 on these sugar white beaches of Northwest Florida. They played through my teen years, but as I said in my last video, but they didn't end there. They actually played on through my 20s when I moved to New Orleans after a crazy weekend at Jazz Fest. And there I did my share of sex, drugs, rock and roll, which was the mantra that I had always lived by. My 30s and my 40s, the videos showed me as a mom who I thought drinking was very cool, very glamorous. But God showed me every sip, every shot, every beer, every drink, every glass of champagne was really not glamorous at all. And I cried and cried. And on April 10th, 2010, it was Easter Sunday. And I woke up without the desire to drink. That voice of temptation was totally silent and has been silent ever since. And the taste for alcohol totally gone. Then, on the fourth Sunday of Easter, April 25th, 2010, I was sitting underneath my patio reading my Bible. It was a beautiful spring day. My cat was laying there on the concrete beside me and the birds were singing when I was surrounded by a white mist. And in that white mist, I felt I was in the presence of God. And He pulled me close as He reminded me of a time in my life, 1983, and our mind's eyes connected and God showed me another Father's Home movie. It was 1983. I was living in New Orleans, and I worked at the Fairmont Hotel, which is now called the Roosevelt. But then it was called the Fairmont Hotel, and across the street was an old, lovely Catholic church. And one day I was called to go inside. I wasn't Catholic then, but I went. It was a cloudy, gray day, and when I walked inside, there was no one else in there. There were only candles lit that flickered and gave the light at the foot of the Virgin Mary. And I knelt. I said some prayers and spent some quiet time with God. It was quite lovely. And then I went to go meet friends on Bourbon Street and have drinks. And as I walked to Canal Street, or walked to Bourbon Street, I crossed Canal Street, I heard a voice from behind me, "Christy!" And I stopped, and I knew it was my Father calling my name. I stopped, I looked behind me. I didn't see anyone, but I knew He was there. And I made the choice to continue walking to Bourbon Street. And there I'm sure I got drunk. So God was crying over this incident 15 years later on April 25th, 2010. I felt His tears on my right arm. And He held me so tight, and I cried my eyes out because I remembered that day also. And we bawled our eyes out together. And that's when I said, I am God's daughter. And ever since then, that's when I've realized how beautiful and deep God's love really is for us. And as I'm coming upon the anniversary on those exact days, April 10th, 2010 and April 25th, 2010, it's just going to be a beautiful day of deep love and gratitude. Oh my gosh, the gratitude I have towards God for showing me and changing my life. I did not escape those years unscarred. My first true love died in a DUI accident the last week of my senior year of high school. My two besties, one died from bad drugs, the other died from AIDS. They did not survive sex, drugs, rock and roll. My marriage ended after a night of drinking, which turned to violence against me. So God has transformed my life. And on those days, He gave me Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Then you will see and test God's good, perfect, and pleasing will. So, about a year later, I was actually back in New Orleans with some friends. I no longer lived in New Orleans. I moved away in 1985 to Baton Rouge, about an hour away. When I was with some friends in New Orleans, and we went to a cocktail bar for happy hour. They'd been sipping tequila all afternoon as we walked around the city, rode the streetcar, and it was happy hour at the Marriott Hotel on Canal Street, a very large cocktail bar that was packed. As I thought about all my choices, my friend had great anxiousness in his face, like, what you gonna order, what you gonna order? Because he couldn't believe I really was not drinking and that I had the power to say no. But as I thought about all my choices, I ordered a sparkling water. And he says to me, Christy, you are your own person. And right then, that's when I understood Romans 12:2. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. That showed me I don't have to follow what everybody else is doing, which is what I probably and had been doing my entire life. I never realized I had choices. I could say no. And I learned the power of no. Makes me Wonder Woman all over again. Every single time I put on my armor of God and I am transformed. And it is so wonderful to not live by what everybody else is doing or what they expect. And it's very powerful to be transformed. So this Easter, you don't have to be Catholic, Baptist. All you do is love God. God just wants you to love Him, know Him, love Jesus Christ and know Him. Can transform your life, and you will be completely changed into a new being. It is a wonderful and beautiful thing and will help your soul to blossom. Peace, love, good vibes always.